Hello and welcome at Change Talks podcast, your source of information, tips, and tricks about how to make change work. Now, in today's episode, I would like to cover three areas of concern. Three areas of concern for managers when it comes to change execution. These questions emerged during my coaching sessions or discussions with people who were either executive managers, middle managers, or project managers. So I think it's a good idea to address them, to give you some quick view. We will not go into full detail, but at least I will be able to give you some insights that may start your own thought process. So what are these areas? Number one is going to be the chaos that is associated with any substantial change execution. The second is the change resistance, the feared thing, the very popular question or topic. And the third one, the last one, is going to be about, is there any textbook methodology that you should follow when executing the change? And as you know me, I will cover these three topics from the practical, real life perspective. I'm really not a big fan of the textbook solutions or things that look very nice in PowerPoint, and they are compliant and they are conforming with the corporate culture, which is, by the way, quite interesting because I know there are people who are training. Project management or some other stuff in large organizations, and they are actually crippling the content of what they teach because they fear that it's gonna be too unpopular, that the people don't want to hear that they may disapprove and so on. I'm not like that. I will tell you how I think and feel, to you to deal with that. Yeah, but the advantage is that you can learn some real life stuff that really works and not just some bullshit. So anyway, without further ado, let's move on. Let's dive into these three areas and let's talk about the change.
Change Talks, your passport to exciting changes in your business, career, and life. Change Talks, your podcast when it's time to do things differently.
So let's kick off with the first area of concern, which is the chaos. The managers often seem to be kind of scared or afraid that if they are going to execute the change in organization, it will come with a chaos. It will bring disruption. And yes, it will. And I'm not here talking just about organizational change. Any kind of change could be re-engineering your processes, could be developing new product, opening distribution channel, entering new market, implementing new IT system, whatever it is. Guys, it's very normal. It's very natural that it will cause some chaos, some disruption. There is no way how you can avoid that. The only thing, or the only way how you can avoid it is not doing anything. Because if you want to move from point A to point B, the transition necessarily means that you are going to disrupt things. You are going to change processes. The things will have rough edges for some time before everything then clicks nicely back into its place. So don't be scared. You just need to prepare yourself and your people for this transition period, and also your superiors. You must be very, very open, very honest, and say, look, we are going to do this, and for some time, things will have little bit rough edges. Now I know it sounds a little bit contradictory to the usual management theory, because all the management theory is about establishing the order. So any kind of management theory is about how to make sure that everything runs very smoothly. If you look at organizational management, what it's all about, how to shape your organization, how to define roles and responsibilities clearly, that everybody knows what to do, there are no overlaps, there are no doubts. If you look at process management, it's about streamlining the processes, how to write process books, how to have clear methodologies, how to minimize or eliminate any space for improvisation, right? And change execution seems to be contradicting that. In a sense, it is, but only for a while, because change management is about creating or recreating new order. So your ultimate decision is to create something that is gonna be in order again. But during the process, you must be prepared for a little bit of chaos, a little bit of disruption, right? And we as a people, we like things in the order, right? So that's what also actually creates the second or the ground for the second theme, the second area of concern that I would like to cover today, which is the change resistance. Now, the change resistance is a good thing. Yeah, people fear that. I know. They think, how can we avoid that? That's a question I get a lot. Okay, how can we avoid the change resistance? Now, you can again just minimize that, because always there's gonna be some kind of change resistance. And by the way, as I say, change resistance is a good thing. You actually would like to see some sort of change resistance. Why? Because change resistance is a sign that people really care. That they care about the way how they do things, that they care about the organization, that they care about the customers. So if this is this kind of change resistance, use it in your advantage. Yeah? You have people who want to see a better future. So just make sure that you take them along the way. Now, it's fair to say and admit that there is also that bad, toxic, dark change resistance. Even that actually is not a good thing, and I will explain why in a second. Now, this toxic change resistance usually comes from masked incompetence, pure laziness, or personal pride. What it means is, if there are people in organization who are incompetent, they usually learn, how to hide that, and they hide it in the like status quo, and they know actually that they are incompetent. So if you come up with the idea to do things differently, they know that suddenly that will put their incompetence into the plain light. They don't want that. So that's why they come up with all these ideas, reasons, why you should not do this, why it's not going to work, and so on. You will also have people in organizations that are just lazy. Okay, again, they are used to a certain way of doing things, and if you ask them to learn new skills, because that's going to be necessary for the new way of operating, they don't want to do that. But they don't want these people, right? And the personal pride comes from the fact that there are people who had created something great years ago, some process, some product, okay, and it was great those days. And now when you come and you say, we are going to change that, they feel it very personally. They take it very personally. they take it like as you are killing their baby. And if their ego is so much connected with that product, with that process, whatever it is, they become very toxic. And if you see these signs, of bad, toxic change resistance, again, use it, because this just shreds the light. It puts red flag on these individuals. You suddenly know immediately who are the people who are probably not compliant, not in line with your vision of the future organization, right? So it highlights the areas in the organization where you will need to do some changes. So good thing to know, right? And usually you find out upfront where to expect this. Yeah? That's a tip that I give the project managers when they come to organization to work on certain project. I say, okay, be very attentive to what people tell you in the kitchenettes, in the corridors, because they usually say things like, wait until you meet Jane from operations. She doesn't like projects like this. Or Steve from IT, he's going to give you a hard time. So immediately where are going to be these troublemakers. Yeah? So pay attention to that. So anyway, change resistance, take it, accept it with the open eyes, use it as an opportunity. Yeah? The third thing of a concern of interest is what kind of methodology. Are there any textbooks that can give you good advice, how to execute change in the organization? And I realized that actually this question comes from the hidden motivation to have something that I can use as a proof point that I know what the hell I'm doing to my superiors or to the teammates, saying, okay, we are following this methodology. We are using that kind of change model. So even if that goes apeshift, it was not fully my fault because I was following this methodology. Okay, I'm fine. Now, if you are seriously interested in learning more about change management, what to follow. Now, the trouble is that we now are living in the so-called VUCA world, VUCA, which is abbreviation for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, which is a nice way to say that it's a mess. And I think you noticed, right, that the world around us is accelerating. It's much faster than it used to be. You start to work on something by Monday, and by Wednesday everything is different. Yeah? So my point here is it's quite difficult to find methodologies that are still working until these days, because change management is quite fresh discipline under this management umbrella. It comes, or the highest development was in 1980s, 1990s. So how can you use the methodologies that are decades old for today's challenges? It's quite tough, right? So give you some examples. Yeah. So the first useful methodology for the change management is from 1940s. It's the Levin's model. 3 steps: unfreezing, executing the change, and refreezing. Okay, fine. Sounds like a common sense, but how to do that in practical terms? Not really useful, right? Then from 90s, we have the 8-step model from John Kotler. That is actually quite interesting, although I have like, two reservations to that. The first one is 8 steps. Okay, 8 steps, it's too much. Yeah, to execute these 8 steps, it just takes ages. Yeah, you are at step 6, and you realize that something is not working, and you need to go back to step 4 or step 3, whatever. Yeah, in the middle, you just forget, where you are. Yeah, you need to understand that it was in 90s, so the companies, the management teams had more time to execute things, to work on them. Not really useful anymore. Although there are some very good and still valuable insights. Yeah, so if I should recommend you one, go for this one. Then you may have the Bridges transition model, again from 90s. It was kind of breakthrough because it introduced the psychology, the human element of the change into the game, but it's not addressing the hard stuff. Okay, how to really make things. Yeah? If you need to streamline the process, how the hell are you going to do that? Yeah? So to use these things, it's in today's world is not very easy. Yeah. So my recommendation is be selective. Take and pick the elements that make sense for your particular challenge. And being selective is actually the way how I created my own 4-step change model. That's what I teach through the Change Management Academy. Now, I'm not saying that to make you go there and purchase the class or purchase the coaching. Up to you, okay? Just take it as a piece of information. My point is that how I developed that is by cherry picking the elements and testing these elements in the real life scenarios. So that's how I know this 4-step model works. It's just 4 steps. It's quite easy to understand, quite easy to remember, and it's applicable for business challenges, individual life challenges. I know it works just, okay? If you want to go your own way, you are free to do that, obviously. Just be selective, be prepared to adjust, be prepared to modify. And that's your job as a leader, right? To recognize that that the things are not going as planned, and to admit that needs the courage, right? It needs a lot of courage to say, yes, we are at this stage of the project, but we realize that things are not going as planned, so we need to adjust. We need to adjust our methodology, our project plan, whatever. That's your job as a leader. If you are not able to do that, you should not be a leader, you should not be managing. And definitely then, you will have trouble to manage changes. So be selective and be flexible. Okay, so these were like my very quick take, on these 3 areas or three questions that I get a lot from managers who work in organizations on change. So let me just quickly wrap it up. Chaos and disruption, that's natural. Don't be scared, don't be afraid, just prepare people for that, whether they are in your team or your superiors. When it comes to change resistance, it's a good thing, it's a good sign, because it shows you that people care. So work with their energy, work with their engagement in a positive way. And if it's that toxic change resistance, again, use it to your advantage, because now you know who are their people. The change unmasks these people. Yeah, the people who were hiding in the status quo. Now you know who they are, where they are, and you can deal with them. And when you are looking for some methodology textbooks, be selective, be prepared, always be critical. Okay, think, okay, if this is written in the textbook, Is it still applicable today? Yes, no. Can I apply it to my challenge? No. If you want to get the easy, proven 4-step model, go to Change Management Academy, but up to you. Anyway, if you like the content of the Change Talks podcast, that's where you can get free information, free tips. If you like it, give it 5-star rating. It helps to get this content to other people just like you and help them in their careers, in their challenges. So have a good day. Until next time, and make the change work.